Shabbat Shalom. Glory and honor to our Father Yah. Get my light. Glory and honor to our Father Yah. Glory and honor to Messiah Hawashah. Glory and honor to them who are righteousness and truth, the Creator, Father Yah, of heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is. Father Yah, who made Israel, who made us, who chose us as his chosen people. Father Yah, who sent his only son, Messiah, as the atonement for the sins of his people. Father Yah, who is sending Messiah, having given him a kingdom, and bringing him back and giving him this earth as his kingdom, who is soon to claim it as his kingdom. Glory and honor to their name. Greetings to the 12 tribes of Israel scattered into the four corners of the earth because we worshiped other gods. Our fathers worshiped other gods, and we have been scattered into lands of our captors and our enemies and those that have put us into slavery. But now we are awakening and coming back to our God, Father Yahweh, and glory and honor to his name, and greetings to you who are awakened and returning to your Father. Greetings to the 144,000 who Father has appointed as the forerunners of the restoration of the kingdom of Messiah. Greetings to the Gentiles who have received this truth, as it were, in the last years of earth's history, have received this truth in spite of the history of their own fathers, the children of Yafet, the children of Ham, and the children of Shem, who are not of the bloodline, and yet through the blood of the atonement for Israel, they have come through Judah into the truth of Father Yah and the gospel and the message of Messiah. Greetings to the chat, Brother Diamond Holdings, Brother Yafi, Isha Shama as Josephine and Frankie, Brother Gary Joseph, Only One Way, my brother Castle King, Hebrewish Wanda, Brother Mark, Brother Superstar and his wife and family, Junior, Brother Walter, Brother Stephen Kelly, shalom to you, Naviska and family, shalom to all of you. We have been studying and will continue to study by the Most High's grace, the book of Genesis, the beginning of it all, where it started and how we got here. I want to start with regard to that, to a verse that I've used before and recently, I think, but we'll go back here because it shows us a lot about who we really are. You see, brethren, having been slaves recently, and when you're talking about history, right? If you're even talking about the 6,000 years that the Bible covers of history, I'm not going to argue with people that talk about millions of years, but we're talking in terms of general terms. So, and even in the 6,000 years of the Bible history, 400 years is a small piece of that. Okay, 400 years is a small piece of that. And so, historically speaking, us as the chosen ones of the Father, bloodline to Abraham, have recently come out of the bonds of chattel slavery. This is a recent, in terms of historical context, this is a recent event. We have recently, newly freed. But and in being in captivity and being under the yoke of first Hamitic people, and then Japhetic people for couple of thousand years, and then recently again being in chattel slavery for more than 400 years, we have forgotten our name, we have forgotten who we are, we have forgotten our culture, we have forgotten everything about what makes us us. Most importantly, we have forgotten who we really are and where we really come from. Very important, because especially over the last 400 years in the United States of America and in Europe and England, this is the same thing, in the UK, and then of course in South America, places like Brazil, we have taken on the culture of our captors. That's what we have done. We have taken on the culture of our captors and forgotten our own culture and forgotten who we were. And we have tried to, and have been, inculcating ourselves into their culture and their history. Not that I'm downing their culture and history, but it's akin to an adopted child being adopted by parents And then during the course of being raised by the adoptive parents, start to question, because it is obvious to the child that those two parents aren't his or her biological parents, trying to find out who they really are. Having been culturally raised by the adoptive parents and having been culturally brought up, having been culturally taught, you want to know, or the adopted child want to know, okay, well, who am I really? Where do I come from? Who are my biological parents and what were they like? See, and being raised in the lands of our captors, that's us. We weren't even adopted as much as we were stolen. And during the course of them stealing us, we are victims of being brought into cultures and mores and belief systems that are not originally us. And in fact, on the whole, as the governor of Florida recently demonstrated, it is our captive studied aim for us to not know who we are. And in fact, to believe that we have not contributed to society, that we have not been intelligent people, that we have not been people that were independent before we were stolen. That is the goal and aim of the captors. But as we are now awakening, we're finding out that our people were the original ones. Our people were the ones that taught the arts, that taught how to write and what writing was, that taught what a book was, that knew about surgeries and history and writings and mathematics and all types of areas of society before anyone. And including in that awakening is understanding where we really come from and who our real parents are. And of course, in terms of the people, in terms of the human race, of course, there's an argument that could be made that all of us are related. In terms of the human race, all of us are related, right? Because all of us come from Adam. All people originate, if you're listening to the Bible, with Adam. But that's not true of the chosen people. The chosen people, although originated from Adam, the Father Yah starts them really after the flood with Abraham. Well, we can say we were with Noah, and then the lineage of Seth to Noah, including Lamech and Methuselah and Enoch. But after the flood, it starts with Abraham and the promises to Abraham. That's where we, as the chosen people, come from. First of all, to say that we are the chosen people is weird to those that are not that are trying to hide who we are, to those that don't want to know who we are, to those that are the captors whose families and ancestors are our captors and brought us into the culture we're now in. To say we are the chosen ones is almost an offensive statement. And yet, as we are now awakening, the word of the Most High shows us that very fact. So here in Isaiah chapter 50, the Father is giving us, through his prophet, his Hebrew Israelite prophet Isaiah, he's giving us a history lesson. He's giving us a history lesson, a small history lesson, as Isaiah 50 is only 11 verses long, yet a history lesson nevertheless, to tell us partly who we are and where we come from and how we are to find out more about who we are. Isaiah chapter 50, beginning at verse 1 of Isaiah chapter 50. Thus saith Yahweh, where is the bill of your mother's divorcement, whom I have put away? Wait a minute, this is actually not what I want, but maybe I should read it anyway. No. It's 51 I want, Isaiah 51. I was thinking maybe I should read this anyway, though I came by accident. Sometimes the Most High has you do it, but I'm going to read Isaiah 51. It is what I was talking about, not Isaiah 50. It's 51. It is a short history of who we are, where we come from, and how to find out more about ourselves. Isaiah chapter 51. Shalom, Brother Beckman. Isaiah chapter 51. Let's look at Isaiah 51. My bad for talking about Isaiah 50. It really is Isaiah chapter 51. So let's look at 51, beginning at verse 1. Hearken to me, ye that follow after righteousness, ye that seek Yahweh. Look unto the rock whence ye are hewn, and the hole of the pit whence ye are digged. So he said, look unto where you come from, the rock where you are hewn, and the hole of the pit where you are digged from. He's using that metaphorically, saying, this is where I want you to look back where you come from. And who is he talking to? Well, who is Isaiah only talking to? Isaiah's whole prophecy is only to Israel. So let's take a look, verse 2. Look unto Abraham your father, and unto Sarah that bare you. For I called him alone, and blessed him, and increased him. So this is your family history's beginning, Hebrews. This is your family history's beginning right here. This is where you were called the chosen people. But this man, Abraham. Again, let's make sure we keep pointing out for those that are of the mind of religion. Abraham was not called to create a religion. The Father didn't say to you, I'm calling you out of your father's house so that we can start this new religion. That's not what he was called to do. The Father promised Abraham, leave your father's house, and I will make you a great nation. That's right, a nation. So he wasn't called to start a religion. So people just keep saying, Abraham's the father. Who started your religion? We don't have a religion. We are part of a scattered nation. And then you Gentiles and you children of Japhet and Ham and Japhet are not of the bloodline. If somebody asks you, what are you? Say, I came to Judah. Because salvation is of the Judah. And I came to Judah of the 12 tribes. I wasn't born in there, but I was born again in there, right? That's what you say, right? I was born again in Judah. I was born again in Judah. See, Judah, yeah, Judah, one of the 12 tribes. You mean where Jesus? Yes, that's what you call Jesus. I came to Judah, of the tribe of Judah. And I came to Judah and I was born again in Judah. But you who are of the bloodline, this is where you come from. This is where it started. He said he's going to make of Abraham a great nation. Well, brethren, the bloodline, you're the nation, right? Remember that, okay? Remember that. You're the nation. Okay. All right. Verse 3. For Yahweh shall comfort Zion. He will comfort all her waste places, and he will make her wilderness like Eden, and her desert like the garden of Yahweh. Joy and gladness shall be found therein, thanksgiving and a voice of melody. Hearken unto me, my people. Wait. What did he just call us? Hearken unto me, my people. Give ear unto me, O my nation. See, this is not a religion. We are a nation called by the Creator. The Creator called us by name, named us. And the Creator says, I am the God of your nation, the fathers of your nation. So you see, wait. United States of America, right? I don't know the history of England. Not very well. I know they were Anglos and they were Saxons and they became Anglo-Saxons. Saxons are generally German. Anglos are generally Northern Europe. I know that. And they became Anglo-Saxons. I know that. But I do know something, having been raised in the United States of America. I don't know the history of Mexico that well. But I know the United States of America. So let me ask you. George Washington, if I said George Washington, if I said Thomas Jefferson, if I said Benjamin Franklin, if I said James Madison, right? If I said, what's that guy? Henry, Henry, give me liberty or give me death. If I said these people's names, you who are, American, right, who have been raised in this country, you would call them, right, GD, you would call them, right, the founding fathers of the nation. Is that correct? Am I right? Am I right? Would that be correct? All of you tell me now? Come, I want somebody from the children of your faith to tell me I'm wrong. If I was to say George Washington, James Madison, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, if I say these things and I said these are the founding fathers of the United States of America, people would, nobody would deny that. That's the founding fathers. Okay. So if I was to say these were the creators of the religion of America, Patrick Henry, that's right, Stephen King. Patrick Henry, give me liberty, give me that. So, but these are not the starters of any religion. These are not the creators of the American religion, are they? Right? I mean, they're the founding fathers of the nation, but they're not the creators of the religion. I mean, the religion came from Rome, right? Right? So, right? Okay. Well, with that framework, he said, hearken unto me, my people, give ear unto me, O my nation. So Abraham was one of the founding fathers of the nation, and the nation was chosen by the Creator. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to y'all? Do y'all understand that? Does that make sense? So in other words, Abraham was chosen by the Creator. He was chosen by the Creator to be the founding father of a nation. Hey, don't they do this in America? Don't they try to act like the Creator chose the slaver Thomas Jefferson, the slaver George Washington, the slaver James Madison, the slaver Patrick Henry? Don't they want you to think that the founding fathers were chosen by the Creator, inalienable rights and all that from the Creator? But wait. But that was their God. Their God chose them, right? That's not our God. That's their God. Okay, and we can get with that. See, don't argue with them. Yeah, that's your God. Your white Jesus that originally came from the Pope of Rome. They chose you to create this nation. Okay, well, our God, Yahweh, chose our forefather, Abraham, to create our nation, which he doesn't just call our nation, does he? He said, hearken unto me, my people, give ear unto me, O my nation. So the Father said, this is his nation. And the nation is scattered throughout all the other nations, scattered throughout the nations, which the Father has also told us in this very prophecy of Isaiah, as well as other witnesses. I'm going to call my nation from the four corners of the earth. Okay, now you're getting an idea of where you come from. So your God, who you worship, is the one who called into existence the founding father of your nation. And while the United States of America's founding fathers, like I said, nobody would deny it's George Washington, it's Thomas Jefferson, it's Benjamin Franklin, it's James Madison, all the signers of the original Constitution of 1776. Those are the founding fathers. Well, brethren, our founding fathers are called Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. That's our founding fathers. That's where we come from. Does that make sense? Is that clear? Or did I manipulate y'all, or is that the truth? Is that straight truth? I just want to make sure. I'm not trying to twist words. I'm not trying to create. That's the truth, isn't it? Okay. I want to make sure we got this correct, right? So right, Diamond Holding, we got this correct, right? So that's it. So this is the truth. Our founding fathers of our nation is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They are not the founding fathers of a religion. It is the God of the religion that called our founding fathers into existence and gave them the name Israel. We did not do that. They did it. Okay. All right. There you go. All right. So now let's continue. Isaiah chapter 51, starting at verse 4. Hearken unto me, O my people, give ear unto me, O my nation, for a law shall proceed from me, and I will make my judgment to rest for a light of the people. So see, there it is again. There it is again. A law shall proceed from me. Isaiah, when he's writing this, he's writing it at the behest of the Spirit of our Father. No prophecies of any private interpretation. So he is saying here, the Father is speaking to him and saying, a law for my nation is going to proceed from me. Guess what? If there was a religion, there it is. There it is. There used to be a song back in the day, like 25, 30 years ago. If I say it, you'll know what it is. I don't even know the title of it, but I do know. Ooh, there it is. Ooh, there it is. See, that's the truth about it. Ooh, there it is. Okay, verse 5. So the Father is now speaking. So we are the children of a nation with founding fathers, and our God called us into existence, and he named our nation, and he gave us his law. And we are the only people in the history of the planet Earth whose ancestors heard the voice of our God giving us his law, which he calls the covenant between us and him. If you want to have a righteousness, if you want to have we call it a religion, that's it. It's the covenant of our Father Yah that he gave us. Praise the Most High. Verse 5. My righteousness is near, my salvation is gone forth, and mine arm shall judge the people. The isles shall wait upon me, and on my arm shall they trust. So what did we learn so far? Abraham was called. We come from him. That's where we're from. That's who is our origin. Our origin, Abraham. Okay? Abraham is our origin. He was called forth. Abraham was declared righteous because he trusted in the God that called him. Not only did the God call him, when he was called, he was born with the name Abraham. Abraham was his name. But the Father said, your name is not Abraham anymore. Your name is Abraham. Because I've made you the father of nations. And from your wife, Sarai, her name is Sarah. Kings are going to come from her. She's the mother of the nation. She better than Dolly Madison. she better than Martha Washington. They ain't got nothing on Sarah. Okay. Dolly Madison, Martha Washington, they was the mothers of this nation. Founding fathers, why? But they ain't Sarah now. Let's not get carried away. They're not Sarah. Sarah is literally the mother of us. From her womb, we came. Dolly Madison can't speak on that. She had to share her man with the slaves. Thomas Jefferson's wife can't speak on that. His favorite woman was a slave. George Washington can't speak on that because Martha had to share him with the slave quarters. No. Sarah said, cast out that bondwoman servant. That's bondwoman and her son. They're not going to be heir with my son, not with YHWH. And we all come from YHWH to laugh. Praise the Most High. All right. Salvation is going forth. Judge the people. My arm shall they trust. This is Abraham. This is Abraham's father and our father. This is where we come from. We got more. We got a lot more. Right now. Lift up your eyes to the heavens and look upon the earth beneath, for the heavens shall vanish away like smoke, and the earth shall wax old like a garment, and they that dwell therein shall die in like manner. But my salvation shall be forever, and my righteousness shall not be abolished. Brethren, this is the key right here. So, like Abraham, we, his children, must trust in the salvation of our Father and the perfect righteousness of our Father. Like Abraham and like Sarah, 90 and 100, when they, listen, can I say it like this? They had us. Didn't they have us? Didn't Sarah and Abraham have us? In having YHWH, they had the nation. YHWH was a founding father, and then YHWH had another founding father, Yaakov, who became Yashar-al, or Israel. They had us. So it started with Sarah. So when she had us, they were trusting. Even the birth itself, even the conception itself was an act of faith. So we come from a man of faith, a man covered in the Father's righteousness, a man that completely trusted the word of the Father to the point where he was willing to offer his only begotten, believing that the Father could raise him from the dead. That's where we come from. That's where we come from, brother. Okay? That's where we come from. And it shows. You know, all them old Negro spirituals we used to sing. But really, that was just a sign of us believing. Martin Luther King, the day before he died, said, I'm not going to get there. I may not get to the promised land with you. Y'all remember that one? I remember that speech. You know, I wasn't there in Tennessee. I was a little kid, but I remember them playing it on the radio, and I remember my goosebumps coming on my little arms. I remember that. And he said, I may not get there with you, but I've been to the mountaintop. He said, but we as a people, we're going to get to the promised land. That was the Father's Spirit moving through our people to let us know, no matter what it looks like, no matter how many of us get strung up, no matter how many of us get laid off, no matter how many of us they mistreat, no matter how, I learned this too. David Dinkins, the former mayor of New York, he said, when a Caucasian man is a millionaire, has $1 million, they call him a millionaire, right? So when a Caucasian man has $1 million, they call him a millionaire. When a black man has $1 million, he's a nigger with $1 million. So even in the highest levels of us, we still disrespect it. Okay? And so with all of that, it's okay, because Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Khalid Abdul-Muhammad, with Father speaking through them, telling us, hang on. Just hang on. Don't worry. You're going to get there. Hang on. And now the Father's word waking us up, telling us the Father's word being even a clearer trumpet, is it not? Even a clearer trumpet, the trumpet being Messiah, telling us you come from Abraham. You come from that man that I told I was going to make a nation. You're the nation. You come from a man of righteousness that trusted in me and trusted in my salvation. That's where you come from. That's your heritage, y'all. That's really that's our heritage, where we come from. That's what he's saying. Okay. And he said, his salvation and righteousness is forever. So, brethren, he's declared the word right here. He's declared the word right here. And you and I both know now, we know now, when the Father declares the word, does it ever not happen? If he spoke it, he said, my salvation is forever, and my righteousness shall not be abolished. So if you're hanging on the coattails of the Father's salvation, if you're hanging on the coattails of his righteousness, you're going to last as long as that salvation and that righteousness lasts. You're going to last just as long, because it said it shall not be abolished. Abraham didn't. That's where we come from. That's who we originally are. See, what we have become is a result of sin. what we have become. Is, as wild as we become, Moses said, "You've been wild since I knew you." That's what Moses said. You've been rebellious since I knew you. Well, we come from that too. But originally, we come from Abraham. And the goal would be for us to go back to what we come from. That's what this whole chapter is about. He said, "Hearken to me, ye that follow righteousness." He said, "Look unto the rock whence ye are hewn, and the hole of the pit whence we are digged." Look to that. Okay. Verse 7. "Hearken unto me, ye that know righteousness, the people in whose heart is my law. Fear ye not the reproach of men, neither be afraid of their revilings." The people whose heart are his law. Those are the people that, you want to talk about religion, those are the people that are worshiping the Father. The people in whose heart is his law. Okay, so let's go over the whole thing. So we come from Abraham. We are a people originally of faith, righteousness, and salvation. We are a people of obedience to the Heavenly Father that called us. We are the people of the God that says we are his people. He has made with us a law, and we are obedient to that law. That's what makes us his people. That is our religion, to be obedient to the Father Yahweh. And doesn't Revelation say the same thing? Revelation 12:17. Revelation 12:17. We just read this the other day. Revelation 12:17. Notice what it says. Revelation 12:17. Revelation chapter 12, verse 17. Notice what it says. "And the dragon was wroth with the woman," that is, we know, Israel, wroth with Israel, "and went to make war with the remnant of her seed," that is, the remnant of the seed of Israel. Y'all catching that? The woman is Israel, and the remnant of her seed is you and me, which keep the commandments of Yah and have the testimony of Messiah YHWH. That's what makes us his people. We keep his covenant. The commandments is covenant. And we have received the message, the testimony, the witness of Messiah. Here is the witness of Messiah. "I am not ashamed of the gospel of Messiah, for it is the power of Yah unto salvation to all that believe." To the Jew first, salvations of Judah, and also to the Greek. "For therein is the righteousness of Father Yah revealed." We come from a man that received Father Yah's message of righteousness, and we now receive Father Yah's message of righteousness through the atonement for our sin, Messiah. And that again goes back. Listen to me, he said, "You whose heart is my law." Well, look at it. Here we are again in Revelation 12:17, the remnant of her seed. There we are again, the remnant of her seed. There we go. Praise the Most High. That's where we come from. That's who we are. Now, I bring all this up. The reason the Most High had me start with this, the Father's Spirit is able to make us born again. We know that. The Father's Spirit, as we are led by the conviction of the Father's Spirit to turn from our sin, we come to the Messiah who leads us and gives us the example, because he is the atonement of our sin, and he is the perfection of righteousness that represents the Father on our behalf. And so he goes to the Father, and then he teaches us, "Pray to your Father." We go to the Father. The Messiah leads us there, and he speaks on behalf of the Father to us. Okay, Messiah speaks. Everything you read that Messiah says, he's speaking on behalf of his Father to us. Okay, speaking on behalf of his Father. So now we are receiving his testimony. We're receiving his witness of the Father. Yah is light, John said, and in him is no darkness at all. You listen to religion, if you listen to people, they'll have you believe in Father is darkness. That there's two gods. There's this Old Testament one that was so mean, and there's one that's in Jesus, and he loves us. There's two gods if you listen to Christians. Ain't two gods. Ain't but one. And his Messiah speaks to us in his name. But Messiah is not the Father. That's right. He said, this is the witness. John said, this is the witness. This is what we declare unto you. We are witnesses. He said, Yah is light. And in him is no darkness at all. He said, if we say we walk in him and walk in darkness, we lie and do not the truth. But if we walk in his light as he is the light, we have fellowship one with another. And the blood of Messiah, YHWH, his son, cleanses us from all sin. That's the whole thing, y'all, right there. That's the whole thing right there. That's it. So we come from that. That's where we're from. Now, brethren, when we are born again, listen carefully now. When we are born again in the spirit, we are being remade into the image that the Father intended. Especially you men. Now, sisters too. But I want you to notice, I would talk a lot to the sisters, but I talk a lot to the brothers, because you are made in the image of the Father. We lost that image because of sin. But when the Father's Spirit comes on us, what it does is within us remakes the image. And the image is one of honor, one of respect, one of the spirit of Abraham, who was so honorable, so respectful, carried himself with such a dignity, such a royalty. You see, brother, you don't have to have a lot of money to be royalty and to carry yourself like royalty. Because that's really what we are. As former slaves, we are slaves that lost our honor while we started worshiping other gods. You see, I know all the brothers previously to us now, they will point out the sins of our captors, how they kidnapped us, how they mistreated us, and still to this day are mistreating us. They still do that. But if you really want to be honest about it, although they are guilty of that, and they will pay the penalty for that, believe me, the word tells us that, but we have to look to ourselves. We're in this situation because we worshiped other gods. We gave up the royalty, the dignity, the righteousness and truth that we were given as a royal people. But we praise Father Yah, because through Messiah, he's bringing us back to that. So we are proof that you can be royalty and be financially poor. You can be royalty and not be the top in Babylon. Y'all get that? So we are being returned to the princely and queenly and prince and princess that we come from. And brethren, let me tell you, we are not playing to the audience of Babylon. We are playing to the audience of the Father. Because the ultimate aim and goal is to give honor and glory to our Creator. Then that's different from every other religion in the earth. See, most religions will try to tell you you're pleasing God by going to church, or you're pleasing God by being in this religion. Is that correct or no? Am I saying that's right? Again, I want some witnesses now. Is that true? Like, is that how they teach you? You know, by being a member, look at that word, by being a member of the church, that sounds like that could be the Elks, the Freemasons. By being a member, are you going to join the church? By being a member, you're pleasing God. And by following the statutes and judgments of that religion, you're pleasing your Creator. Okay, let's set that aside for a moment. And hey, Brother Line, let's talk about what we're doing is we're following the Most High Creator that called our father Abraham. Is that correct? So we're not following a church. We're following the Creator that called and named our ancestor Abraham. Y'all got me? That's a whole different thing. So now, this is not we're not doing this as part of a church. We're not members. We're members of Messiah. That's what Paul said. You are members of Messiah. And you are members of his body. Now, the Bible calls it church, but we know it really means nation. People have made it into institution. I mean, I want to make sure we're clear on this. Christianity have turned nation into institution. That's what they did. The devil is slick. That's why the Bible says he deceives the whole world. He's slick. He has turned nation into institution. And that's why I say, in the Bible, there is no Christianity institution. It does not exist. And somebody again will point, well, the word Christians in the Bible, yes, 3 times. And it's never, ever pointing to an institution of religion. It's not doing that. Messiah did not come to create a religious institution. He came to bear witness of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. In fact, he said, many shall come from the east or the west and shall sit down. Did he say in the church? No, he said they shall sit down next to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's what he said. So we have been brainwashed and bamboozled to believe that when the Bible speaks on church, it's speaking on a religious institution. That doesn't exist with the Father. A religious institution came from man. Father didn't give us that. Father didn't promise Abraham that. He said, I'm going to make you a nation. And we have founding fathers of our nation. We just saw it. That's right. We are the nation of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel. Thank you, Brother Lonnie. That's exactly what we are. So being that, we're not no church. We're a body of a Messiah. Church meaning ecclesia, the called out nation. The called out nation. The servants of Yahweh. That's what we are. Okay, a called out nation. Now we're a scattered nation. We don't know how many we are. The Father don't want us to know how many we are. We don't know, how many of us exist, but the Father knows we exist. But we as individuals know who we are, and that's the important thing. You could be anywhere on the planet Earth. One thing I think you can understand, you Hebrews, especially the bloodline Hebrews, and some of you now that are coming into this truth from outside the bloodline are starting to understand, right? Bloodline Hebrews, let me ask you all a question. Unless you've been in Africa, and even if I've seen people in Africa say the same thing, you always feel like an outsider. Am I lying? Again, I'm not saying anything nobody here has not experienced. So in your life, when you're growing up, haven't you mostly felt like an outsider? You felt like you're outside. Well, you know why that is, brethren? Because you are. Because you don't fit in Christianity. You don't fit in nations that's not of your God. You really don't fit. The closest you start to come to fitting is when you realize who you are. And brethren, when you realize who you are, see, you've always been an outsider. So it don't matter. Wherever you go on the planet, you're an outsider. Wherever you go. And you know why? Because you're the chosen people. You're the original chosen people. And the Father has called you. And now, even though you're still an outsider wherever you go, you know now you're a part of a scattered nation. You know who you represent. You know where you come from. That's the most important thing, brother. That's the most important thing of all. Praise the Most High. That's it. Okay, that's it. So you can go to any country. It doesn't matter what country you go to, really. I mean, you go to Ghana, right? They're going to treat you. In fact, in Ghana, they still call black people that come from America, they don't call you brothers and sisters. They call you dollar sign. They looking for your money. That's what they looking for. They're looking for them American dollars. Okay? You can say, oh, I'm coming back home. They say, yeah, come on. Come on. Shoot. And you be dark-skinned. Listen here. You be a dark-skinned Hebrew and try to go to Mecca. You be a dark-skinned Hebrew and go to Mecca and see how they treat you. You're going to wake up real quick. You're going to wake up real quick. Okay? Real quick. Nah. See? So, but every place on this earth, because we are a scattered nation, we're always the stranger. But it's all good. We come from a man that walked the land promised to him as a stranger. He said, your people are going to be strangers in a land that's not theirs for 400 years. That's true. So don't be surprised, no matter where you go on the earth, you're the stranger, because you are the chosen one. It's okay. The Father has it that way. Praise the Most High. Now, when we get to the kingdom, which is soon, you're not going to be a stranger there. You're not going to be a stranger there. You're going to be the man. You're going to be the man there. Praise the Most High. Okay, so Genesis. That's right. Now, you're right. Exactly right, Brother Lonnie. So don't let that bother you. I guess what I'm saying. And it bothers us even less when we know who we really are. Am I correct? So you could be by yourself and be the only one that's like you where you are, right? And it's all good. Why? Because you know who you are and where you come from. See, you can stand firm when you know who you are and where you come from. When you don't belong to anybody, when you're just an orphan and you have no idea where you come from, people could lead you anywhere. People can cause you to accept all kinds of cultures. You know, somebody can say, well, I'm really into the Korean culture, because you don't know who you are. That's why. Or O.J. Simpson. I'm not black. I'm O.J. That's because you don't know who you are. Or Herschel Walker, because you don't know who he is. See, when you don't know who you are, or you talk about, or you Ben Carson, talking about our people came in on the slave ship for a better life, because you don't know who you are. That's why. You don't know who you are. Yeah, Tiger Woods. You don't know who you are. All right? So when you don't know who you are, you're begging to accept anything that you think is better. Am I lying? You're trying to accept anything in this earth that you think is better because you don't think of yourself as nothing. Because you don't know who you are. You know, you might think you come from some jungle with a bone in your nose. Isn't that right? Hookah, booga, hookah. You come from some bone in your nose jungle, and somebody had to teach you civilization. That's what you think. But when you understand where you come from, when you understand who you are, when you understand who your father is, then you don't have to act like that no more, because you know who you are. You know where you come from. You know who your parents are. Matter of fact, the whole earth reads about you. When you know the most sold book in the history of the world is the King James Version of the Bible. Do you know that? That's the most sold book. That's the biggest distribution of any book in the history of book writing. The King James Version of the Bible. So you know what that means? That means everybody on earth is reading about you. Now, they may not realize it, but you know it. And that's all that matters. You know it. So here's Abraham. I find this very powerful in chapter 23. Let's take a look. This is Genesis chapter 23. Oh, don't worry, Brother Brandon. The first resurrection is fast approaching. And when the first resurrection comes, Messiah said, Father said, in Ezekiel chapter 39, I'm going to show the heathen that I had to punish my people Israel and why I had to punish them. And I'm going to show the heathen, these are now my chosen one, and they're not going to be moved anymore. Don't worry. Yeah, they're going to know. They're going to know. It's all good. So it's all good. But right now, the most important thing, the most initial thing is that you and I know. That's okay. See, like Abraham. Watch this. Genesis chapter 23. Genesis chapter 23. I'm going to read from verse 1 down to verse 4. This is powerful. When you really understand, like I said, who Abraham was, which that's why I read Isaiah 51. But look at this. Watch. Genesis chapter 23, beginning at verse 1 down to verse 4. Watch what it says. And Sarah was 107 and 20 years old. These were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died. And Kirjath-arba, the same is Hebron in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. And Abraham stood up from before his dead and spake unto the sons of Heth, saying, I am a stranger and a sojourner with you. Give me a possession of a burying place with you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. Now, wait. Now, let's stop here for a second. At this point, let me ask you all a question. Those of you that have reading your Bibles, and I praise the Most High, I'm very happy, so full of joy, really, to know how much y'all are really studying this Bible. That's the blessing. Now, let me ask you all a question. At this point, Sarah died. She's 127 years old when she died. Does Abraham already know that he's going to actually, in his seed, his nation is going to take over that whole land? Does he realize that at this time? Does he understand that his seed, his nation, is going to take over all of that land? That is going to be his and his seeds, his nation. Yes, he already knows that. He already knows that. But notice how he approached the children of Heth. He didn't say to them, this is going to be my land anyway. You might as well give it to me now. That wasn't his attitude. He humbled himself and he said, I am a stranger and sojourner with you. Give me a possession of a burying place. He handled himself with humility and dignity. Do you see that? He knew already. The father had already told him, your children are going to inherit all these lands. I'm going to make your children. We just saw what he said, you're going to possess the gate of your enemies. But he did not come out like that. He handled himself with class, right? Can you say that? He handled himself with class. He said, I'm a stranger like you. If you would, please give me a burying place so I can bury my dead. Brethren, this is where we come from. This is who we come from. This is who we are. I know it's always difficult, to come out another way, right? Another way. It's always difficult. But what we're illustrating here, or what should I say, being illustrated to us, is how our father Abraham, the father of the nation, the founding father of our nation, how did he handle his business? I tell you what, he handled his business better than George Washington. He handled his business better than Dolly Madison and James Madison. He handled his business better than Benjamin Franklin and Patrick Henry. He handled his business differently, didn't he? See, if those dudes were handling their business like Abraham, they came more humbly to the Indians and lived together with the Indians instead of killing them all and raping their wives and children, killing them and taking their land. No, that's not how Abraham handled his business. That's not how Abraham handled his business. Yeah, then that's about discovering. Abraham already knew from the word of the Father, my children, my nation that I'm going to have from Isaac is going to take over all of these lands. And Father repeated that to him a couple of times. Not only that, we know that the Father, we're going to read, he repeated it to Isaac too. I'm going to give you all these lands and all these nations are going to be yours. But he handled himself with a dignity, with an honor, with a humility. And what am I saying? Well, we're in a little bit of different, like in the thumbnail of this video, you will see Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, and you will see Martin Luther King. Now, what's the difference between them and Abraham? Unlike Abraham, they were born as children of slaves. See, when you're coming out of chattel slavery, the worst form of slavery, got a bit of a different attitude about the situation. But as we are now growing in knowledge of who we really are, even more than those men of honor, and I say all of them are men of honor, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Marcus Garvey, real men that carry themselves with honor, but even us, even more so. Why? Because we are awakened to the righteousness of the Heavenly Father. We are awakened to the righteousness of our nation through the Heavenly Father from Messiah. We are awakened to this. So now, we're about to inherit. That's the truth now. We're about to inherit all these lands. You know that, right? We're about to take over the whole thing. We're about to take over the whole thing. Like when the Father brings the New Jerusalem on the land, It's going to crush and destroy everything that's there, as if it was never there. When the Father brings forth his righteousness, he's going to destroy all sinners. All unrepentant sinners are going to be destroyed, annihilated, as if they never existed. And we know this. We know this. But we got this hope. We have this hope in ourselves, and we can carry ourselves on the planet that we all dwell on. We can carry ourselves with a humility, with a dignity, with an honor and respect that becomes the sons and daughters of Abraham. Does that make sense, y'all? That's what Paul was talking about when he's talking to the Gentile about having respect, love. That's what he's talking about. You're carrying yourself different than you did previously, you Gentiles. And we said, you used to be wild, Gentile. You used to be carried away with the prince of the air. But now you're different. Because now you understand you've come through Judah. And now you're grafted into the nation of the 12 tribes. You carry yourself different now, Gentiles. Different. This is how you used to be. But this is not you anymore. You understand? And with us, well, we've been taught as being slaves and captives and eating chitlins and loving white Jesus and the cross and bowing down to a piece of stone in Saudi Arabia. We have forgotten who we are. But now, as we're now awakening, you could say we used to be like that. But now we're returning to our God. To the stone from which we were cut. Abraham. We're returning to the Father Yah, who Messiah came to show us what he was like. We're being brought back. See, you ain't see Messiah marching in those streets demanding that the Romans leave Jerusalem. Why? Because Messiah knew why they was there. The sins of our nation. He knew why they was there. He never was arguing politically about anything. They tried to draw him into it, but it wasn't working. He wasn't having it. Render unto Caesar that which belonged to Caesar, and render to the Father Yah what belongs to the Father Yah. He wasn't getting into that. While one of the disciples, he was so wild. He was a zealot, and he was so wild they called him a Canaanite. I forgot which one it was, but they called him a Canaan. Not that he was of the bloodline of Canaan, but he was a zealot because he was trying to do change on his own. He was like Malcolm X in them. He was trying to do the change himself, see? But the Messiah was teaching us, first learn of your Father. First, understand where you come from. First, look at his word and align yourself back with his covenant. And that's what Isaiah said in chapter 8. He came to confirm the covenant. He came to, what the Bible say, in whose people is his law. Confirm his law. That's what he came to do. And then in Daniel, he said, he confirmed the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week, he shall cause sacrifice and oblation to cease. That's what Messiah came to do, to confirm the covenant with his people. That's what he's doing now. Yes, Simon the Zealot. That's right, Joe Curry. That's it, Joe Curry. That's it. They called Simon. They said you a wild Canaanite. You Negro was a wild Canaanite. So that, and he called James and John the sons of thunder. I don't know what to do with you sons of thunder, man. You sons of Zebedee, something else. Messiah said, y'all something else. Exactly, they was fanatical. So the Messiah had to calm them down. He said, you want us to call fire from the sky and burn them up? Messiah said, calm down. He said, I came to save men, not to burn them up. Not yet. Praise the Most High. So that's what we're being called to. Now, unlike Christianity, now let's be real now. We're not supposed to be letting people just roll all over us, come up in our house, snatch our little cousins out and hang them and throw them in over the bridge or whatever. No. Messiah said, if this were my kingdom, my servants would fight. And as we know, he ain't coming back as no peaceful. You understand? But at the same time, you could carry yourself with a dignity and honor without starting trouble. Bible say, be wise as serpents, harmless as doves, but you get backed into a corner. You know, it's like Malcolm said, if you got to give it up, let it be even Stephen. Protect your life. If you got to give it up, let it be even Stephen. But you try to avoid that at all costs. Okay? We really don't want to have that. We want to be like Abraham was when he was in the land of Canaan, knowing his father, his sons and daughters going to take it over. But hey, right now, I'm a stranger. So it's all right. Right now, we strangers in the land that's not ours. But it's not going to be like that for long. Genesis chapter 23, verse 5, from verse 5 down to verse 9. Watch this. And the children of Hev answered Abraham, saying unto him, watch this, verse 6 now. Hear us, my Lord. Thou art a mighty prince among us. In the choice of our sepulchres, bury thy dead. None of us shall withhold from thee his sepulchre, but that thou mayest bury thy dead. Now, why was Abraham a mighty prince among them? Not just because he had loot, not because of the gold and silver. It was over the years that he had been in the land of Canaan. Now, at this time, if Sarah was 127, Abraham was 137 because he was 10 years older than Sarah. Now, Abraham 137 at this time. That means he had been in the land of Canaan for 62 years because he left his father's house at age 75. Now he's 137. So now he's 62 years in their land. And for 62 years, they've observed him. They've seen his acts. They've seen how he came to help. When there was a fight, he was ready. They seen how he was handling his business. And they said, look here, you're a mighty prince among us. You understand? You're a mighty prince among us. That's what they said. Brethren, you are princes and princesses among the heathen, whether they recognize it or not. But you carry yourself like that, you can win some souls to the truth. You mighty prince, they say, you're a mighty prince among us, children of heaven. And Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land, even to the children of heaven. And he communed with them, saying, if it be your mind that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me and entreat me to Ephron, the son of Zohar, that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which he hath, which is in the field, end of his field. For as much money as it is worth, he shall give it me for possession of a burying place among you. So he's willing to buy. They were going to give him whatever he wanted, but he's going to buy it. Why? Because that was going to be a sacred burial place for not just the mother of the nation, Sarah, but as you would know later, the wife of Isaac, the wife of Jacob. That was going to be sacred burying place for them. The mothers of the nation and the founding fathers of the nation. So he's buying that for a burying place for him and his wife, Sarah. Okay, the mother of the nation. Verse 10. And Ephraim dwelt among the children of Heth, and Ephraim the Hittite answered Abraham in the audience of the children of Heth, even of all that went in at the gate of his city, saying, nay, my Lord, hear me. The field I give thee, and the cave that is therein I give it thee. In the presence of the sons of my people, give I it thee, bury thy dead. And Abraham bowed down himself before the people of the land. And he spake unto Ephron in the audience of the people of the land, saying, but if thou wilt give it, I pray thee, hear me. I will give thee money for the field. Take it of me, and I will bury my dead there. And Ephron answered Abraham and saying unto him, my Lord, hearken unto me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that betwixt me and thee? Bury therefore thy dead. He wasn't catching it. Abraham wanted to own this land for his family going forward. They wanted to give it to him because they loved him, but he wanted to know for the future generation that he bought the land. so that all the future generations would know, regardless, Abraham's children bought that land. The children of Abraham, their father bought that land, and it's theirs. Okay. And Abraham hearkened unto Ephron, and Abraham weighed to Ephron the silver which he had named of the audience of the sons of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, current money with the merchant. And the field of Ephron, which is in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field and the cave which was therein, and all the trees that were in the field, and all that were the borders round about were made sure. See, they were made sure because Abraham bought them now. So when Abraham passed away, his son would inherit it. When his son passed away, his son would inherit it. Unto Abraham for a possession in the presence of the children of Heth, before all that went in at the gate of this city. After this, Abraham buried Sarah his wife in the cave of the field of Machpelah before Mamre, the same as Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And the field and the cave that is therein were made sure unto Abraham for a possession of a burying place by the sons of Heth. So everybody sees that. So forever, as long as they understand, that was going to be the burying place of Abraham and his sons going forward. And so we know that later on, Isaac buried Rebekah there with him. We know also that Jacob was buried there, as he asked his children to bury him there. And he was buried there with, not with Rachel, but he was buried there with Leah, which was the first wife, the wife of 6 of his sons. He was buried there with her. And so we know that's the burying place they bought. And we're going to see that again as we continue through our journey in Genesis. But praise the Most High. He was a mighty prince among the heathen. Brothers, let us be like that. Let us be princes among the heathen. Not in an uppity way, not in a way that we're trying to lord ourselves over them, but in a way of dignity and honor that becomes royalty. Sisters, remember who you are. You are the daughters of Sarah. You are the princesses. You are the queens. You come from a lineage of royalty. Know that. Carry yourself like that. Always. This is the sign of who we are. The chosen people. Praise the Most High. We'll be back in about, I'd say about 2 o'clock. We'll be back. May the Most High bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May he lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom.